Hi, my name is Timothy Hunt, and I'm the director here for Personal Counseling Services. Welcome to Flyers Take Flight. Today, we are interviewing Shenika Ward, who is the Director of Student Life and a Student Resource Specialist here at Sandhills. She's married to her college sweetheart, Joshua, but affectionately called Tito by his friends and family. They have been happily married for 11 years, plus 4 months and 16 days, but who's counting? They have 2 beautiful children, Maya, age 7, and Joshua II, age 5. They met and began dating while both attending Fayetteville State University. This is where she obtained her Bachelor of Science in Psychology with a minor in Sociology in 2005. Because she had worked in the pharmacy as a certified pharmacy technician throughout her college years, Shenika continued to do this since she was unable to find a job out of college. In 2007, Shenika made the decision to return to school to earn her master's in arts and education with a focus on school counseling and graduated in 2010. In the summer of 2009, before she completed her program, she was blessed with an opportunity to land a job in her career field as a school counselor at the Sandhills Early College High School in Rayford, North Carolina. While working with teenagers and in the K-12 realm was truly a learning experience and ultimately what led her here to higher education. In 2016, she was able to take advantage of the wonderful opportunity to become the Director of Student Life here at Sandhills Community College. According to Shenika, Sandhills has been a place of tremendous growth and development for her both personally and professionally. Working alongside students has been an eye-opening, challenging, and sometimes humbling experience. She has enjoyed every single minute of it. She has learned so much about the importance and necessity of community colleges throughout this 4-year journey. She has also gained an enormous amount of wisdom and developed a tremendous amount of respect for the students we serve here.
Let's not talk about salmon patties, though.
We won't bring that up if you won't bring that up, okay? See, I told, what I tell you, I said when she gets over here today, she's going to be off the chain. It's going to be a difficult process because she's going to cut up.
Difficult? Taylor.
I don't think I use the word difficult. I think I use the word fun.
Taylor wouldn't allow you to talk about me like that because I'm her twin sister.
We are twins. According to Dr. Dempsey.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, okay.
You haven't noticed the resemblance?
No,
I mean, it's clear.
I'm sorry. Wow. I should have known that.
You should have.
Forgive me, please.
Okay.
And here's my first question. Where did you learn to be so funny?
Are you joking?
No, I'm being serious. Where did you learn to be so funny?
Do you think I'm funny?
I think you are hilarious.
You know what's very interesting? This is serious. So, me and my mom have the Bible app, and we're doing these like devotionals, and so they're like 5 days, 7 days, and I can't think of the name of the one we were just doing, but we were talking about like coping strategies, and I think over the last few years, laughter and humor have been my best like form of relief from the stresses of life. Like I literally find humor in everything, things that probably shouldn't be funny. But it feels good on the inside to laugh, and so I think I can, find humor in everything. So I'm not trying to be funny, if you think I'm funny, but
you are.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Does the discovery of that correlate with you becoming the Director of Student Life here?
You know what's interesting? Ask me that question again so I can make sure I'm answering it appropriately.
Does the discovery of that coping skill, laughter, correlate with when you became the Director of Student Life here?
It's quite possible. The interesting thing about that is I am a firm believer that DJ Farmer is actually the reason that I'm here. I was walking down the stairs one day. I had a relationship with Cassidy Benjamin prior to coming. She was in testing. She did the acupressure testing, and she would come down to Sandhills, where I was a counselor, and we would coordinate their acupressure testing. And so I was going upstairs to see her one day. Well, as I was coming downstairs, I had just applied for a different position here at Sandhills. And so when I came down the stairs, I was with Kim, McMillan that also works here, and we ran into DJ.
She's cool people.
I love that. That's
Great.
my boo. Yeah.
Yes.
So when I came down the stairs, I saw DJ and I shook his hand. It was very cold, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, my hands are cold, but my heart is warm." Like, it was so corny. But I think he remembered that, and then I interviewed for the other position. That one didn't work out, and then I morphed into student life, and you know, I work with students, and they're so forgiving.
Yeah, they are.
So forgiving. And so, I mean, you know, if I mess up, if they mess up, you know, it's just, I find humor in it.
I think one of the things that I immediately recognized about you, so my first experience with you, DJ was in that. You know, he walked me over, and as soon as I met you and Brandy, you go, "Are you a hugger?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a hugger." And you go, "Oh my God," and we all hugged, and I was like, "I love them. I want to be over here." And I was like, "Is she a hugger?" And y'all like, "No, she's
Oh, I know.
she's not a hugger." I was like, "Oh, okay, film a tribe."
Oh yeah, I'm a hugger. Like, COVID is really difficult for me.
Very much so.
I feel very cold when I walk into a room. I'm like, oh, sorry, 6 feet. Like, so social distancing has been difficult for me.
Tell me, where did you learn to be so charismatic?
It's so interesting. It's funny that you say that I'm charismatic. These aren't qualities that I think of myself. I don't. I can't tell you where I learned it, because I wouldn't, if you said name 10 charismatic people, I wouldn't expect my name to be anywhere in the list. I don't.
So let me flip that question in. Do students find you charismatic?
I think they do, except when I have to go in the game room and put my serious face on. They're scared of that face.
Yeah.
And it's funny because students, when I was a counselor and here, they always joke with me about how I turn it on and turn it off. I guess maybe I go into like mama mode or something like that. But if something has gone wrong or someone has stolen a game out of the game room and I go down, like, I have had students tell me, "Oh my God, I didn't realize you were so cool. I was scared when you came to the game room that day." But I think, you know, it's just a part of who I am, being able to turn it on and turn it off. I don't know where it came from. Maybe, I don't know. My mother is pretty, we're very silly together. And so maybe that's just a trait that I got from her.
Do you think that has anything to do with how you help students feel like they belong here?
Definitely. Being charismatic or being humorous, or
Both.
I'm sure it does.
There's a
some
warmth
way.
to you, Shenika.
Yeah.
There's a warmth to you, and I know that that's what draws. You're like I put it on our Instagram page one time. Find the people that are like warm sunshine, and that's the way that I would describe you.
That is really sweet.
You are like warm. Seriously, and I
Yeah.
mean that. Like, you are like warm sunshine. Anytime I can sit by you in our director's meeting, I know we're going to get in trouble.
Probably.
We're going to get called on, but it's like, that is one of the quintessential ingredients that makes Dr. Ward,
Speak it into
Dr.
existence.
Ward, the queen of student life here.
Yeah.
What would you describe your average day here?
There's no average day, which is why I love student life. I literally drive to work every day, and I'm like, I'm coming in on the reservation, and I'm like bouncing around in the car, like, and I'm like, my mind is running rampant. Like, I'm thinking of new ideas, new ways to engage students. Like, oh my God, why didn't we ever think of this before? And it's so flexible. We get to help students. We get to laugh with them. We get to watch them grow. We learn from them. I think that for me, I've learned much more from students that I think I've been able to teach them. I get great ideas from them. And so now I don't remember the question because I'm just rambling, and I do that sometimes too. Like, I start rambling and then I forget the question. So,
Well, let me ask a new question then. What would you say is probably The number one lesson that you've learned from student or students since working here?
Honestly, I think I'm a good person, but to recognize some of my own biases, whether they be positive or negative. Like, I might put a student on a pedestal based on who I think they are, or I might, and I think these have been few and far between, but I might even make a student feel uncomfortable by my body language or something that I said that, may have been a trigger for them. And I just had no idea until it later came out like, and so, just kind of recognizing biases.
And that's important when you think about creating an environment where people belong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we all have them. Like, nobody wants to say it out loud, but I specifically remember an instance it was sometime last year. Yeah, it was last year. I had a staff member at the college, and they came to me about a student that I work closely with, and they said, I'm really intimidated by this student. And I was hot, like furious. Again, I went into like this protective mode because I know this student inside and out. And based on what this student looks like on the outside, they were intimidating to this staff member. And I said, well, that's your problem. And you really need to, like, normally I'm kind of reserved, but I was so protective of this student that I had to let them know, like, this is inappropriate thinking and, you really need to do some reevaluation. Well, this might have been like on a Thursday. So I went home over the weekend and I kind of reflected on that conversation, and I realized that when I initially met this student, I think I had some of those same biases, but I had talked to this student and nurtured this student, and I knew, so many of this student's struggles and where they come from, how resilient that this student had been, and I just grew to love this student, and they were very dependable. And for someone to then say, like, I'm intimidated, like, that's your problem. But then when I did some soul searching, I realized, Shenika, you might have had some of these same thoughts when you initially saw this student, but you had to break down those walls by communicating. And all the staff member was doing was communicating with me how they felt. And in that moment, instead of me receiving that as an opportunity to dispel like those feelings or to talk through it, I immediately went into defense mode. So I went back to that staff member on that Monday. And when I went to them, they were like, I really did some self-reflection this weekend. And I said, I did too, because, I understand how I came off. I understand how you feel. But I had to realize, like, I may have had some of those biases too, but let's talk about this student. And then that staff member was able to share, I've seen this student work, and they understood that this student was a good person, but just like the appearance was intimidating for this staff member and other people. So.
How do you define belonging?
That is a very interesting question, because I was in a webinar yesterday, and I had never heard belonging described like this. And the presenter said belonging is feeling like you can contribute. And for me, it was just like, it's major. And I shared that in another meeting earlier today, because I think, I've been here for 4 years. For the first 3.5-ish, I would give my opinion if it was asked, or if it was asked directly to me. But if there was like just a general question posed, like, I wouldn't necessarily like throw my answer out. But I think COVID, being home, learning how to operate differently, the racial inequality that we see that's happening, that you have time to like really look at and process right now.
Absolutely.
I've decided I like, I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I'm not going to tone down my blackness. I'm not going to wear smaller earrings because I have a meeting with the directors today. I'm going to wear the earrings that make me feel fine. I can still speak professionally with big hoop earrings on.
Sure can.
I don't know who determined that I have to go into a meeting and look a certain way, or that I can't have my blonde hair up and showing in a meeting, because I can still articulate my feelings just fine. So belonging is feeling like I can be me without having to tone me down to appease the people around me. Belonging is me giving you my opinion, even when it might differ from your opinion, and being able to have a transparent conversation. That's belonging. It's not me 3 years ago sitting in a meeting thinking like, well, I don't know that I agree with that, or did y'all not notice? Like, I'm not doing that anymore because I want to belong. And I've felt like, again, being home, being present, and not having all of the distractions of, like, I drive 45 minutes to work back and forth. So I get home, hustle and bustle, kids, dinner, schoolwork, bath, bed, get up and do it again. But now I have time. I'm not so tired, and I've had time to really process my feelings and how I feel about what's going on, how I feel like I have contributed by being silent or not expressing my opinion about the things that I see. And so that for me is belonging, contributing.
So it sounds like COVID has been a blessing?
It's crazy. It's been a tremendous blessing. It's allowed me to just think clearer. At first it was extremely stressful, extremely. I'd say the first couple of weeks, it was like cool. Like, oh, I get to sleep in like this. I can do this. I can get on my computer, check my email. Then it started to get busier. Like, people were out of work, and I started, I'm also the student resource specialist. So then I start getting all of these requests, and I'm taking on all of these students' issues. And like, when you're in the fight and you're telling me about your fight, I'm in the fight with you. So it was mentally draining. I was exhausted. At that time, I have a second grader who's an autistic 7-year-old, and then I have a 5-year-old who's entering kindergarten. So I am homeschooling while working full time, and it was crazy. But now that I've adjusted, I've been able to see the beauty in it. Like, I listen to my kids breathe at night when they fall asleep. I'm not so busy jumping in the bed myself that I don't take the time to just listen to them breathe. Like, I am present. And so for me, it has been a blessing.
That's beautiful.
And I want to put that plug out right now. I think when we do come back full time, I think Sandhills has already done a wonderful job of creating a culture where family comes first. I think our president sees that. I think our vice presidents do that. Like, it is, your family comes first. Work's going to be here. But when we do come back, I wouldn't mind working a day from home. And then, I mean, because we've seen that
you can do it.
That we can do it. We can be effective. I'm busier now because I'm thinking outside of the box. Like, what can I do to engage these students from home? And so it's possible. So I think, I think that I am in a very, I recognize that I'm blessed. I have a husband who's wonderful, and a good career, and we haven't lacked anything. And I know that some people have. But for me, I've found a lot of blessings in it.
So here's a question I want to ask.
Okay.
Because what you described just then was you're woke. You decided that you are stepping out of the box, right? Where'd the box come from?
Where did the box come from?
Because as I'm listening to your story, I'm thinking about the student that hasn't had that experience, and they're still in the box. Share with our listeners, where did your box come from?
Where did my box come from?
Where did you learn to suppress you?
It's tough to admit, and I think people would be upset, but I think I learned it as a child. Because I grew up in a home with very young parents. I think my parents met at like 13 and 14. And then my mom had me like right when she graduated high school. She was 19. But my father, my biological father, was a very dominant person, and I never ever felt like I could express myself. Like, I vividly remember, like, if I wanted to ask for something or do something, like, I would stand around the corner and hide and like count to 10 and like just force myself to do it because I was so scared about like what he was gonna say or how he was gonna react. And so I just always felt like I can't really express myself. And that's the only thing that I can think of that would have, taken me down that path of like, you better watch your mouth or watch what you say. So, yeah. So
COVID helped to take the box away.
COVID, and so it's interesting. Over the last year and a half, I have developed a relationship with my father. So my mother remarried when I was a freshman in college. I gave him the business. Like, I just told my mom the other day, like, I really gave him a hard time because I was so protective of her because of things that had happened with my dad, that Jesus could have asked to date my mom, and I would have been like, let me see your birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? And so my stepfather's a great man to her, and he's been a great stepfather to me. But my father's father was not a part of his life ever. Ever. Well, my father's father came back into his life right when he got terminally ill. And so he passed away in, I think it was August last year. I can't remember exactly. But I saw my dad emerge as a better person because his father was in his life. And something broke down. I don't know when it happened. I was resistant to him. I was resistant to most of the people on his side of my family, because I just didn't want to deal with it. It was like there were inconsistencies. Like, he was never, I don't say never there. Like, it was real spotty. But finally, maybe 6 months ago, something spoke to me. And it was like, you can't be mad at someone for not giving you what they never had. And so it's not like my dad like apologized for anything, but I just realized like he did the best that he could with the resources that he had. And so I don't know. I forgot the question again.
But you've arrived at a very tremendous point.
I have.
Which is forgiveness.
Forgiveness, yeah.
But it also sounds like, too, you found your place here. You belong.
Yeah.
Not so much at Sandhills, but you found your place within yourself. And as you, by you finding that, is that helping you to help other people find their belonging here?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think I try to be very transparent. I'm very honest. If you ask for my opinion, I'm going to give you the I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I definitely feel like, life experiences have allowed me to feel like I belong. I think about me now at 37 versus 25. And like, even I was thinking about my friendships this morning. This is one of the things I was thinking about on my way to work, and how blessed I am to have such phenomenal friends. I mean, I have, a friend group of strong, intellectual, beautiful women, but I couldn't have had that same level of friendship at 25. Like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't a good friend. I didn't know how to be a good quality friend. I thought I was. I mean, maybe I was a good surface friend, but now it's just, I feel like I'm in a place where I can be, I keep feeling the word transparency. So I feel like I can be transparent. I'm not gonna, if I don't want to go, I'm not gonna go. There was a time where if something was going on, like, I felt obligated, like I need to go and make everybody else feel good, so I'll be there. But now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna do what I can. And that's just it. And I think it comes with age, maturity. So. Are
these the same group of friends that you shame on Facebook when they don't walk with you?
So those are my line sisters.
Gotcha.
And I would love, to call them out. Hi, Shauna. She's one of my line sisters. She's the baby of the bunch.
Gotcha.
Sheila. And Jivan.
Okay.
And normally, they let me know that they're going walking on Sunday mornings. But what I failed to do is update that post. So actually, after I called each one of them individually and fussed all of them out.
Yeah, there we go.
Shauna said, you need to check your phone because I text you. So I did check my phone. Well, the night before, I was busy eating crab legs when that text came through.
Got you.
And so I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And so I had to apologize the next day.
I almost intervened.
You did?
And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to just stand on the sideline. Yeah.
It was my fault.
Yeah.
I got the text message.
Good.
I was dipping crab legs in garlic butter. And I must have saw it and thought it was my fault.
I'm glad you got good line sisters like that.
Yeah.
That, forgive you and
shout
love
out
you.
to Delta Sigma Theta. I mean, the best sorority in the world.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Sorry. That was
We're keeping it. It's there. We're keeping it. Garlic butter and all.
Garlic butter and all. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I could eat seafood every day of my life.
Yeah.
Every day, but my husband is not having it. He doesn't love it. And I love him, so we don't have to have seafood every day.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You're a good wife.
I try.
That's a good wife right there. I was going to comment on what you had said about belonging here. I remember one of my experiences with you after being here. It might have been maybe 2 months or 3 months. I can't remember. But I remember coming to you and I was like, can I ask you a question? And you were like, yeah. And I said, is this place for real? Do you remember that? We were in your office and I was like, is this place for real? And you were like, yeah, Tim, it really is. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, everybody here. I said, I feel like it's like Stepford Wives. Like everybody's saying the same thing. And I just don't know.
It's crazy.
Can I trust it? And you were like, yeah, you can totally trust it.
The first year, no exaggeration, I was waiting for somebody to punch me in the back. Like something.
Yeah.
Like something negative has to happen. But people are happy. It's like contagious.
Yeah.
People are happy to be here. It's a culture. It is. It's 4 years later, and I sometimes feel guilty when I go home. Like, babe, guess what happened today? We had breakfast this morning. I went to a culinary lunch today, and tomorrow I booked a massage. And I mean, and it's not just those perks, but it's just even over the last week, I got excited because I got emails from faculty members working on a project. I'm like, people here want to work together.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. Everybody wants to be here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can't say everybody. I haven't interacted with everybody, but the people that I've interacted with, most of them have the best intentions. So yeah, it's for real.
And I also remember you giving me some encouragement because Kelly had asked me to go to a meeting and present, and I had gone up and written out all my points that I wanted to say, and I wanted her to read over it and tell me it was okay, and you were like, and she was like, no, just go. And I was like, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to somebody saying, just go and do that. I'm used to being critiqued and told what to say. And you shared with me, yeah, it took me a while to get adjusted to that too, that they really believe that you're going to do what you say you're going to do and they're not going to micromanage. I was like, wow.
It is the most beautiful feeling. I can't even really describe it. In my previous role, I worked for 2 different principals. And it was just a different environment. Granted, I have come to realize, because I held a lot of hatred, resentment toward both of them. Because the first one that I worked for, it was my first time in that professional setting. I worked in the pharmacy through, right at the end of high school, through undergrad and the first part of graduate school. And that first year, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I think that particular principal wanted someone who knew the ropes. Well, I was finishing graduate school. Like, I knew things that I had read in the textbook, but it's difficult to apply those things when you walk into a job and you're 25 years old and you're trying to figure it out. And I didn't feel nurtured. Like, I felt very beat down. And I remember, like, going home for the semester and her saying, like, I mean, basically, I don't know that I would have hired you or something to that effect. And it just, like, I lost weight and it was very stressful. And I did the best I could. Then I had another administrator and she helped me to grow in some areas. And then, but it was still like a bit of micromanaging. And then, you know, I have to own some of the parts. I was a little bit younger and still trying to figure things out. Right. But here, it was just, like, I remember coming here the first few days and just sitting in my office looking around like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, is somebody going to come over here and tell me what to do? Boss, you know. And so, like, same experiences. Kelly's just like, make it your own. What do you mean, make it my own? What you mean? But it's very much been, I trust you. Right. We hired you to do a job and do it. And that it's given me the most room for growth. Because now, before, if I made a mistake, I would lose sleep. Because I felt like I needed to be perfect. Here, if I make a mistake, I might laugh at myself. I'm going to call Kelly like, hey, let me tell you what I did. And this is the decision that I made and why. It might not turn out right or you might get a call. But let me tell you, I'm going to give you a heads up. She's like, okay, thanks. Like, because we all make mistakes. Right. So does she. Right. So do you. I'm sure every now and then, I think you're pretty perfect, Dr. Dempsey. But I'm sure he makes a mistake. Everybody makes them. But not until I came into this environment did I feel like it's okay not to be perfect. Right. And I feel like the culture here has just allowed people to grow. And it's been beautiful for me to feel. I'm sure it's been beautiful for my husband to watch, who got the brunt of the, like, I'm so stressed, I don't want to move, I don't want to do anything, to now I'm excited every day. Like, I have not gone home stressed one time in 4 years. Not one time. Granted, I have a 45-minute drive, so if I was stressed when I left, by the time I got home, maybe I had, you know, kind of relinquished it before I got to my family. But, like, it's been the most beautiful experience ever. I'm actually super appreciative of it.
Shenika, how does that translate to students and belonging?
How does it translate to students and belonging?
This place where you're not held by these standards of you got to be perfect and you got to do what I say and you better make sure that you are dotting every I and crossing every T. How does that translate to students and helping students grow? Helping students belong.
I'll go back to transparency. Like, I'm very transparent with them. Granted, I don't tell them all about my life history, but just like, you know, I've made mistakes too. And I try to allow the students to have a lot of autonomy. And, you know, I'll say, you know, I have an idea of what this might look like, but I want you guys, I'm going to leave the room. I want you guys to talk about it. When I get back, then let's talk about it as a group, because I understand that I'm just a person, but I hold the director title. And so I know that for students, sometimes they think I'm their boss, and I'm not their boss, right. But just like when you're in a room with your boss, like, you're going to be a little bit more reserved than you would if it's just me and you and we're laughing and kicking our feet up, you know, right. Talking about something. And so I think how it translates to students is, like, I let them know all the time, you don't have to be perfect. The reason I love working with students so much is because I'm forgiving. They're so forgiving. Brandy and I joke, like, some days we're winging it. Like, we're figuring it out as we go, because the students just, you know, they want to feel like they belong. They don't have, like, these super high expectations. And, you know, so I forgot the question again. Is there something wrong with my brain? What was the question?
There's just lots of good ideas floating around in there.
So here's,
I love it. There's definitely a blooper reel. It's going to be awesome.
Oh man.
So here's what I want to ask. Well, let me get myself together. What steps would you share with students on how they can belong if they don't already?
The first thing that comes to mind is so corny. It's so corny. But just be yourself.
That's
be
powerful.
yourself. It is. I have a little thing. It's like a Peanuts thing. It says, be yourself. No one can ever tell you you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Be yourself. I mean, because I try to suppress the silliness and be professional and sit in the meeting and look really serious. But that's just not who I am. Like I'm silly. I want to relate to students. I want to relate to people. So I am just myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'd start with. Like if you have questions, ask them. I used to be one of those people that was really scared to ask questions because I didn't want to appear dumb. Not now. I got an email from a colleague the other day and he said something and I'm like, I should probably get this, but I have no idea what he's talking about. Right. So I responded and said, hey, I'm normally the person in the group that doesn't get the jokes. Can you explain this to me? Mm-hmm. And then he explained it to me and was like, oh, he said, I'm one of those people too. And he explained it and I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. So just be yourself. Ask questions if you don't understand. The meeting I was just in before is the 2030 committee. We're getting ready to plan for 2030. And someone in that meeting was, conversations are difficult for some people right now. It was a white colleague, female, and she was like, she was nervous. She didn't know when she was stating something if she should say Black people or African Americans. And I understand, like I am empathetic to people that are scared to say anything right now. And that's the reality of it is that's how Black people have felt for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so, but I told her, like, ask me anything. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, why are you asking questions now? Like, I'm not mad at you and your process and where you are. I just came to the realization that I've been quiet for so long. Somebody else may have come to that same realization 3 years ago, and they might have been wondering why I was keeping my mouth shut. Yeah. And so, like, I allow students to be where they are, and I just try to meet them where they are. I have students that are 15 years younger than me. I have some that are the same age. I've had some that are 15, 20 years older than me. And so I try to be, respectful and just try to meet people where they are and try to connect. You can connect with everybody about something. Even if you have different religions, if you have different political beliefs, like there's something that you can connect on. Right. Maybe it's a reality TV show or, salmon patties. It could be anything.
You had to bring them up.
It could be anything.
You had to bring them up.
I tried not to. I couldn't help myself. That was the perfect opportunity. I apologize.
So, just want to make sure we're clear. Be yourself.
Be myself.
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
What's the third? Find common ground?
Find common ground.
Find common ground.
Whether that be food or,
Oh, you still brought it up. Okay.
Just find common ground. Now, I can talk to anybody about food all day. Like, mentally, I should be huge because I can eat and talk about food. Like, I should be very large. As a matter of fact, babe,
Jesus.
I had table on the green today, if you're watching. But I only ate after 12, and I'll be done at 8. Intermittent fasting.
Okay. So I got this thing called rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Would you like to play?
Sure, let's play.
Okay. What's the color of your toothbrush?
So mine is like a teal color. So there were 2, teal and purple. And you would think my husband would let me have the purple one. But he's an Omega. So he gets to have the purple toothbrush. And I have to settle for the teal one. They didn't have red in the pack.
Okay.
Do I seem angry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Feeling a little feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a, probably stop by Walmart
Okay.
since you brought that up.
Sorry.
I need a different toothbrush.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to traumatize you.
You did.
You have done that the entire interview.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Favorite food. Can I just say seafood?
Like
All of it.
all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of it. Like, I don't like mussels and clams. I'm sorry.
Oh wait. You mean like seafood? Like I thought you meant like seafood.
Like, if I see food, I want to eat it.
Yeah.
Now, that's me too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean like things that are out of the ocean. Yeah, that type of seafood.
Any particular absolute
Gotta have it.
favorite?
Shrimp. I could eat it every day of my life and be just fine.
You good people.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same. What about crab legs? Where does that?
You didn't hear my
I
story?
did hear you.
about
I just wanted to
garlic
ask.
butter.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask.
Love them.
Like-
Love them.
Okay. All right. So.
A little spicy, especially if the garlic butter has like a little spice to it.
Have you ever watched the
No.
It's the only YouTube channel where the people have like the microphones. I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, they put the microphones close to their mouths as they're eating the seafood.
It just sounds weird. Do you watch that?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is the most relaxing thing to hear somebody chewing.
You know what's funny?
I can't think of what it's called. My kids showed it to me and I was like, oh my God, this is so kind of cool and weird at the same time.
My best friend's youngest daughter likes to watch people eat on YouTube, and we kind of like laugh about it. What's
So it's listening to, you're going to make me want to YouTube it now, but it's particular, like it doesn't necessarily have to be about food. It can be like really tranquil sounds.
Oh, okay.
But there's this one woman and she eats crabs and she chews and she'll whisper and she'll be like, I'm going to dip it in the sauce.
Oh my God.
And then she'll just chew and it's really cool. But
I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Is Tim, are you looking at it?
Yes, that's it. What is it called?
Just send me a link.
That's not her, but
not
that's
the crab
it.
leg lady.
Yeah.
So it's a show on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have heard of that.
And
Is it like two different?
There's a couple of them.
Because, so I watch Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Hilarious.
And I think Portia, that is on that show, was doing that.
Did she do that?
I don't know if she's one of the women on there. I don't know if she was like mocking them, but I think she did that.
It's ASMV or my son showed it to me and he was like, Daddy, this is really cool. And they've got all kind of different sounds and stuff that you can listen to, but one of them is eating, which is amazing. Seafood.
Like tapping me. Okay.
Cool.
Do your questions before we run out.
Oh, okay. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
I would have to be. Can I just be a stuffed animal? I don't want to be outside in the hot. I just want to be a stuffed animal.
And what kind of animal?
A bear.
A bear.
People like to hug them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you admire most?
Very interesting. I actually admire my 7-year-old. I do. Because her brain works a little bit different than
Tell us
ours.
about that. Yeah.
But she's hilarious. She's hilarious. And she has to try to understand and process a world that was not made for her. And she works really hard at it every single day. And so we always joke in our house and say Maya is the hardest working individual in this house because she is everything that we take for granted. She has to process, whether it's sounds or textures of food or the way her clothes feel. Like she feels everything deeper than we do. And sometimes there are things that we just don't know, we can't figure out. But I I admire her ability to be fearless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is fearless. It can be scary sometimes. She will run right up to a dog and rub that dog, and I don't want any parts of the dog. She will jump into a pool. 2 nights ago, our friends live around the corner. They have a pool. My husband took them, and she had on like the little vest. Well, she jumped in and it fell off. She can't swim. She swam from the middle of the pool to the edge of the pool.
Go Maya.
She just was like she was like, survive. I'm gonna survive. We haven't taught. She hasn't had swimming lessons. She swam.
Wow.
And so I admire, like,
Wow.
you know, there's so many things we don't know because she can't tell us,
Yeah.
and we try to like figure them out. But she has a beautiful mind, and so I really admire like the fact that she, again, it can be scary, but she's not scared of anything. She's not scared of me, her daddy, like anybody.
Wow.
You know, she's the real queen. She is.
That's neat. Tell me this. Are you a morning or night person?
Night. That's my time. I mean, and thankfully my husband's the opposite. So 98% of the time, he's the first one up. On the weekends, he gets up. Him and Maya are like out in the house. My son is just like me. Like, he wants to sleep in. But at night, they go to bed and I'm up. Like, I might be up until 2 o'clock because it's quiet. And that's my time to just, I might scroll social media. I might watch some show. I might read. Like, that's my time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
If you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what 3 words would you choose?
The first one that comes to mind is reflective, because I have many instances that I might, you know, jump to a conclusion. You know, it's one of my things that I'm still working on. But then an hour later or a day later, like, I've reflected on like how I could have handled that situation better. I'm very loving, like, I would say lovey-dovey. Like, COVID has made it really tough because I walk into a room and I just really want to give you a hug, and I mean, it's not something we can do right now. So loving, and I think people find it hard to believe, but I would say I'm an introverted extrovert, because I feel like it just automatically turns on in professional settings, and I go home and I just want peace and quiet and and so those would probably be the 3 things that I'd say describe me.
I think the college is fortunate to have you as the director for student life. You pitch perfect in terms of what you do here.
Thank you.
How you enrich students' lives. And you know, I'm just amazed. Well, I was completely amazed at the spring fling last year, and watching you, like, that overwhelmed me. I was like, wow, like, this is her norm. Like, this, she does this, and she's just cool queen, walking around, checking it out, and making it happen.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's nice.